It's a fascinating tale. The tale of Michigan staffer, former Michigan staffer Connor Stalions. We had the documentary. We had all the stuff coming out, and now he is on X talking to Buckeye. What's his name? DPH Buckeyes on X. So let's go to this. And my favorite thing that he said in this whole chain is, to be tipped off that your next opponent is good at stealing signals is like saying you were tipped off that you had an upcoming game, right? And then he kind of goes in. I'm not going to read all of this, but you definitely can. It's kind of like a small version of the manifesto, the amount of that's in this. But essentially just correlating signals to wins and losses at Michigan. He finds it funny. And he talks about the fundamentals being the reason that Michigan won the games that they won. So yeah, I think that's really interesting. To be tipped off that your next opponent is good at stealing signals is like being tipped off that you had an upcoming game. I guess he's saying there, it's stealing signals is a thing that every major program that has an operation to do so.
Yeah, and so let's also like preface, like, where did this stem from? Where did this come from, right? And what it came from is these Sonny Dykes comments have resurfaced after being, it's literally like every 2 to 3 months, this stuff comes up where Sonny Dykes was talking about, oh, we were tipped off. Rumor has it was Ohio State that reached out to TCU. I don't know, but that's the rumor, right? So they were kind of given that, like, oh, Michigan's known for like knowing the hand signs. They know it. So TCU had a month to prepare, blah, blah, blah. And what the rivals like to use, especially Valeni here in Detroit, who's a fucking clown show sometimes. He knows the sports, though. I'll give him that. Like, he's a ball. He's a very strong mind in discussing sports, but his biases show through, and he, no question, has a bit of shock jock to him. But regardless, the point being is, Connor Stalions essentially countered the position that, this isn't happening in college. And he also says he would like to go in even more, but to John's point, he gave a lot of detail, but until the investigation is over, he cannot comment further or, go into too much detail, which is why I'm excited for this investigation to be over. Because, and by the way, John, we're approaching, that should be coming within the next, I would say, 2 to 4 weeks. I don't know. Roughly. Yeah. So long story short, though, I feel that the college football world, especially for the rivals and the ones who want to hang on to it, they are working to make this more than it is. And what I mean by that is, it wasn't just Michigan deciphering signals. And we understand, okay, well, then it's the advanced scouting that's the problem. There's a strong belief that Michigan was not the only one sending people to games, and it wasn't. And then we get into the gray area. Now I'm walking down a path, John. It wasn't Michigan staffers. It was friends and family. So then how does, so we're going to figure out how the NCAA handles that. Right. But end of the day, the moral of the story is everybody is taking people's signs. It's just to what degree. And even to the point of the extreme degree, there's a strong belief, especially in Ann Arbor circles, Michigan wasn't the only one doing things that they were doing. It's just the reality is Connor Stalions, and I made a comment today, and John, I'll let you respond before I go in on some people, because I'm gonna make some shit public, but and the people I'm going to mention, you have every right to counter publicly. I'm down to go to war over it, but so I mean, I guess, John, if you want to give your take on it, and then I'll follow up. But the point being is, Connor Stalions is the MJ of this. He's the Michael Jordan of sign deciphering, and he was just better at it than everybody else. And he was very enthusiastic. But John, what's your take on it? Then I'll follow up with mine.
We need to embrace a few things. We need to embrace the fact that, number one, that sign stealing is everywhere. Every major program has sign stealers. Ohio State has sign stealers. Okay, everybody's sign stealers. I'm willing to admit, obviously, that the Venmoing, the hey, let's Venmo people and have the public name attached. Not the brightest idea.
I know. Come on, Connor.
Not the brightest idea. But at his core, and I have the belief that he genuinely loves Michigan, and he was trying to help Michigan get to the level that Ohio State and others were at, because Michigan was way behind in this operation versus Ohio State versus some of the SEC programs. And that's why he took it upon himself to try to get ahead. And he we don't know yet, because we still haven't heard anything, if he even broke a bylaw. So we're still waiting on that. Did he break a bylaw? And then obviously we're waiting on what the punishment is going to be. But at the end of the day, he is somebody that I think at his core just loved Michigan, and he did what he could. And whether he got a little overzealous, that's up for debate. But that's where I'm at.
Right. And and to your point, John, and Connor has explained it very well. The reality to sign stealing is a game called cat and mouse, right? They know your signs, you know their signs. It's who can counter at the before the ball is hiked, who's willing to let the play clock run a little bit. To Connor's point, if you want to avoid sign stealing, just huddle up.
Yeah.
Just huddle up. You can avoid it, but you didn't. Mm-hmm. You don't want to. And the reason why is because all schools are looking at each other's signs. Now, again, I understand there's a Buckeye watcher, and I'm sure there's like 30. And they're like, it's everyone's course, but it's the advanced sign stealing. Okay. And then that brings me to my next point. Hello, Rutgers. Hello, Ohio State. Hello, Illinois. Where you're passing along a fucking Excel sheet from your professional sign stealers who are in-person scouting on the sideline. Oh, I'm sorry. There wasn't a phone. There wasn't a camera. There wasn't a camera in the stands. You're on the sideline. You have the best code breakers in college football, deciphering signs, passing an Excel sheet amongst teams. That is in-person scouting. Shut up. You're a baby back bitch. Don't be a baby back bitch. Own your fucking shit. So that's just what that is there. But what I wanted to hit on also, John, because I want to make this very clear, and I'm sure this will be heard. And this is all like, listen, dude, Garrison's my boy. He is my boy. I'm going to take a shot at him slightly. I'm just going to bring attention to a post he made, because he would do the same to me, I'm sure. And then I'm going to point out somebody else. Again, not really a shot, but I'm going to explain something that for some reason they're not grasping. And they may watch this, they may not. But at the end of the day, I don't care, because I think this is important for those who cannot comprehend why, there's a question amongst the rivals or fan bases who are not fans of Michigan. And there's even people within Michigan, who are disgusted with Connor and want nothing to do with Connor, and he's a black eye around the program, and how can you be a fan of him, and how can you support him, or blah, blah, blah. Okay, I hear your argument. Here's why I disagree. Here's why we on this channel embrace Connor Stalions in terms, and what I mean by embrace, I mean the myth, the lore, the fun of it. Like, stop taking shit so fucking serious all the time. It's college football. This isn't life or death. But secondly, because Connor Stalions is an embodiment of a diehard Michigan fan who was willing to do what it took to make Michigan as great as it possibly could. The difference between most fans and Connor Stalions is most fans watch from TV or watch from their phone, and they're willing to give everything to Michigan, all their energy, every ounce. They just love their team. They're willing to live and die. Connor Stalions is willing to wake up every effing day at like 5 a.m, drive to do all the extras for Michigan to win. Literally built a Michigan manifesto. But what I want to share here, John, is a post by Garrison. Again, friend of mine, Garrison. And he made a post that says, most real Michigan men don't like Connor Stalions, such as Rich Eisen, who's an alum, John Jansen, ex-player. Watch the video. We won't play the video out of copyright purposes. Yeah, I wish I could, because I would. They believe him to actually be a stain on the program and wish his name was never uttered in the same sentence as Michigan Wolverines, or as Rich Eisen would call it, an embarrassment. Yet there is a section of their fan base that calls Buckeye fans wrong for pointing out how weird they are about him and, Stallions. All right. So we are, many of us on this channel, and I countered here, but JR, who has his own podcast, does his own thing, which, I respect. He, listen, homie, he knows ball, and
I've been on his show.
I respect him as a content creator. I have no issues with him, but you better believe I will challenge him here. He says, I will never understand why more Michigan fans don't feel this way. If this is a fucking insane comment. If what he did really didn't impact things like they say, they should want nothing to do with him. All he does is tarnish their accomplishments. If what he did really didn't impact, well, let's say hypothetically it did impact what they said. Should we still want nothing to do with him? Like, this is just an insane comment to me. Anyways, what they fail to grasp, and what I said here, in my opinion, chat, let me know if I'm wrong, but I feel I'm not wrong. The reason why a portion, not all, Michigan fans like Stallions or embrace the Connor Stalions lore is because he was 100% committed to his craft. He loves Michigan. He was a fan who chased his dream and dedicated every second to it. Literally went to freaking, West Point? Because he wanted to follow the great coaches. So he could become what? One of the next great Michigan coaches. Literally wanted to build Michigan into a dynasty. So the reason why I like Connor Stalions is because I honestly believe he is one of us. He is a diehard fan. The only difference is he was willing to do more. And I don't mean push the limits in terms of the rule book. I mean, he was literally willing for his entire career path to be about fully building Michigan into an Alabama is what he wanted to do, during the Nick Saban era. So, the thing for me, John, is how the hell could you hate somebody because they gave it fucking everything they had? And yes, I fully believe Connor, and I'm excited to see, I cannot wait for Connor Stalions to completely, once this investigation is over, be able to talk more freely about it. But what I believe Connor Stalions really did, and John, we've talked about it, you've brought this point up as well. We believe he felt there was a loophole in the rule book because Connor Stalions read it 10 fucking times. And he was like, you know what? I can send people who are not a part of Michigan staff to these games, and I can get that extra footage, that extra 1 degree, the 1 degree that separates good from great. The difference between hot and boiling is 1 degree. That 1 degree I can get to make Michigan that much better because he literally breathed and shit that shit, bro. He was obsessed with Michigan, and how the hell can I fault somebody? I am a big, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who agree with me. I am a big fan of people who are obsessive to their craft, okay? Mm-hmm. In terms of chess, Magnus Carlsen, big fan. Kobe Bryant, big fan. Tiger Woods, loved what he was doing, okay? I love the individuals who are so obsessive with what they do. Like David I'm a fan of David Goggins. Some people might not like David Goggins, but he is so obsessive in his craft. Jocko Willink, I'm a fan of that. And Connor Stalions, in my opinion, fits that archetype of just an individual who is obsessive with their craft. How the hell can I hate somebody? Yes, he did push a gray area. Fully acknowledge that. But no. And then what people want to also say, John, and I know I've been running here. And Mike Valeni on 97.1, he made this point. Well, if Michigan, if Connor Stalions wasn't the reason you were winning, or, like his point is, well, the reason why Michigan was getting the results they were getting is because of Connor Stalions. My rebuttal is, then what happened when it was publicly known before the Michigan State game, and then Michigan goes on a run and defeats Michigan State, Purdue, Ohio State, Maryland, Iowa, or Purdue? Who's in the Big Ten title game that year? I think it was Purdue. And then what was it? Alabama and Washington. Michigan steamrolled them all.
Yeah.
Penn State. Let's not forget Penn State. Beautiful game. End of the day, dude, Michigan won because they were the better effing team. They out physicaled everybody. They had the best team with the best talent. It's not a coincidence. Michigan had 13 players drafted that year, one short of the record. I mean, the reality is that was an elite team, one of the best teams in the last 15 years of college football. And it just so happened that they had an elite code breaker who did push the limits. But guess what? Just as Michigan, I'm done here, John. I know I'm going. Just as Michigan had the signs of other schools, so did other schools have the signs of Michigan. You don't think that Excel sheet had the signs of Michigan's for Rutgers, Illinois, and Ohio State? Of course it did. But we were better at it than them. And that's why their fan bases are fucking butthurt, crybaby ass bitches. And I am specifically talking about the Buckeyes and Sparties. I am done, John. Please take the next run here.
Listen, what you said about Michigan straight up being the better team, I think is the big take home point there. And if you want, for those Buckeyes watching, Mark Rogers and I broke down the entire 2021 Michigan-Ohio State game. And we stopped and we pointed out every point where I said, now, what did Connor Stalions do here? And what did Connor Stalions do here when Haskins was running up the middle? And I was literally like, and Mark was like, yeah, I don't really, so Mark and I broke it down and I pointed out, well, what did Connor Stalions have to do with this one? Because I'm just so tired of the narrative that what he did impacted the results to any ridiculous degree. Could there have been, maybe I could give it a point or two in some games, but it is not a major impact on these wins, which were 42-27, 45-23. Right, impossible. And then Michigan had the run after Connor Stalions left. Michigan had the run starting with the Michigan State game onwards in 2023. All wins, undefeated the rest of that season. No Connor Stalions. Everyone was huddling. Everyone was doing check with me. Nick Saban changed his signs. Ryan Day changed his signs. So any small advantage was neutralized to the point that the president of the entire freaking NCAA said that there was no Michigan won fair and square, period.
So look at this shit, John. We now have Buckeyes, and if Max in the comments, he knows we've talked about this. Let's pull Moose's comment down. So check this out, John. You have the rivals, okay? Yeah. Building graphic presentations, explaining the consequences of what Connor Stalions was. Draft stock manipulation, John. Some players looked better versus opponents who didn't know plays were coming. Others looked worse on tape versus Michigan, potentially hurting their stock. Example, Stroud's legacy may have been hinged on the Georgia game. He almost never got that shot. You got to be kidding. The recruiting impact, John. Winning and momentum. Recruits gravitate to teams with college football runs and inflated success. Yeah? Well, how's our number 7 class doing where we went fucking 8-5 and didn't make the playoffs, you dumb mother... I swear to God, these fans, bro. How's Texas Tech doing? Anyways, roster retention. Players may stay longer or skip the portal to ride success built on a rigged system. You mean like the Buckeyes?
You're right.
Fucking clown. Injury risk. Knowing an opponent's plays creates targeting opportunities, John. How about the targeting in the TCU game they didn't call?
Yeah.
Roman Wilson?
Okay. Yeah, and how many missed targetings and PIs and everything else that Ohio State committed on Michigan. Oh,
that was John. Okay. Well, moral of the story is these Buckeyes are effing nuts, boys. Oh, you're back?
Yeah. Gold star on the Arts and Crafts project.
Hey, you know what? I give them an A for effort, but you're fucking crazy. It's the effort that counts sometimes, John. I can admire effort, but you're fucking crazy. Like, we're going to assume injury risks were higher because he knew the plays. Like, bro.
Well, Dick Buck is not